Hey, so we're gonna talk about why you are not the reason why you're losing the games. And specifically, I want to address the matchmaking algorithm in League of Legends because when I read like Reddits and play just overall gamers when they start playing, I'm talking about people who tried League of Legends and did not decide to play it in the long run. When you talk to them, and you say, why you decided not to play, the first thing I always hear is the matchmaking is strange. That is the first thing that comes up when I talk to them. Like they say, hey, dude, I just started playing and I was matched with a guy who has like level 300, and he's like platinum player. In my first 3 games of League of Legends, I'm playing against this guy. Remember, against that guy, right? So everybody says matchmaking is weird. Okay, so we're gonna be using. I'm gonna link this video in description, but there is a bot in League of Legends. I don't know what server that is. Oh, NA. But the bot just basically attaches. It's just a bot, right? It attaches to a player. It spams heal, and then when the player dies, it runs away and it teleports back to base. Rinse and repeat. Now, the reason why it's important is because, look, this bot has 25% win rate. Okay, so think about matchmaking algorithm as a system, right? So 1 in 4 games, matchmaking is so, like, the matchmaking matches players where 1 in 4 games you can win 4v5. Even with a feeder on your team, you still win. That means it's so unbalanced and the system doesn't work, right? Because if, like Riot says, there's like 50% chance of one team winning, 50% chance of the other team winning. If that was true, this account would have 0% win rate, right? Because there's no way you can play worse than a feeder bot that does literally nothing. But because matchmaking is so bad, you can actually win 1 in 4 of your games going with a feeder, right? I can't find it in here, but there was another account where the guy would play Mundo. He starts the match and he goes AFK every single game, and he had 33% win rate. So 1 in 3 games, so 1 in 4 games you can win with a feeder on your team, right? And 1 in 3 games you can win with an AFK on your team. How is that balanced? Right? How can there be 50% win rate where you're playing 4 versus 5? It just makes no sense. So, like, I've done statistics in college, so like I know what I'm talking about, right? As for system to be viable, I'm talking about for system to be considered effective, the error rate must be maximum 5%. The lower the error rate, the better. Okay? So if we were looking at this from a system perspective, this account should have 5%, roughly 5% win rate. Ideally, 1%. Because 1% represents that the system works perfectly. 5% represents it's almost perfect. Almost. As close to perfect you can get, right? 0% means the system is perfect. But this system has 25% error rate. That means the 1 in 4 matches that are being matched are so bad that one team has ability to win the game with only 4 players, right? And right, and we're actually, you have to think in terms of this account like as a feeder, right? So technically he's feeding gold to the enemy team, right? So you can say that enemy team has 5.5 players, and the other team, which is your team, has 4 players, right? Because a feeder is technically not player on your side, it's half a player on their side, right? So matchmaking in League of Legends is so bad that 1 in 4 of your games, you can win 4 versus 5.5 players. Does that mean, like, how is that balanced? You're literally 4 players are beating almost 6 players. That's because the matchmaking is so bad. And AFK is another good example where 1/3 of your games you can win 4 versus 5. It tells me that the system does not work. Because again, let's go back to science and maths, right? For system to be considered effective, it has to be below 5%, 5 or less. Whereas in here we have 33 to 25% error rate. It's unplayable system, right? It's designed poorly. And that's it. Right? There's no further evidence that you need to know. So you can say that, okay, there's two ways that this is happening. It's either the system is ridiculously bad or somebody is rigging it, right? And I'm telling you it's being rigged, right? Because of engagement optimized matchmaking, losers winners queue. I showed it multiple times on my channel where if the system marks you for winners queue, you can literally go 0-20 and you still win the game. That's because the enemy team is full of complete handicapped people or bots, right? People on a tilt, people who don't know how to play, people who pick variety of different champions. The system knows who they are. It puts them on an enemy team and it's going to guarantee you a win. Guarantee. That's what I'm saying, is that the reason why you're losing is not you. It's the engagement optimized matchmaking. And you can see that, like there's the proof to you, right? Because if engagement optimized matchmaking did not exist, or the matchmaking was correct, this account would not be possible to do what this account does. It would not be possible to do what that Mundo, who AFKs and wins 1/3 of his games, does. Right? And you have to remember, look at this got bronze 2, right? There are some players that play and they end up like in Iron 1, Iron 2, right? And how is this bot that does nothing has higher MMR than they do? And I'll tell you why that happens. One sec, I'll pull up an Excel. Yeah, so I'll show you why this happens. So you're saying, like, how can a bot be better than me? How can a bot, like, outplay me and have better MMR than me or whatever, right? I'll show you why that the problem is. So this is team 1, this is team 2. Let's say we go with skill, okay? So let's go skill 10, 10, 10, whatever. Well, let's say 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 5. Total skill. Here is 25, right? Now, here's what's going to happen. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, okay, equals sum of this. Now, naturally, you think that, okay, if I'm 10, I'm going to climb and I'm going to win 100% of the time because obviously there's just a skill disbalance, right? This is what everybody thinks what League of Legends is like, where, you know, if you're 10 times better the player, right, you're just going to stomp 100% of the time. Now, that's not the way it works. What's going to happen is you are skill 20, right? So this guy is going to be -5, -5, -5. And this guy is probably going to be like 10. Right? Or this guy's going to be like -4. Let's say this guy's 0. And this guy's like -4. -1. Yeah. Do you see? And it becomes impossible to win this. Like, you just cannot win this because of CC, right? Because of objectives, bounties, right? Anti-carry builds, which is like armor stacking, and Athena chains. Zonia is probably in here as well. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, if you go to 30, these guys are gonna become like, if you go to 40, let's say you go to 40, I mean, you're just so much better than everybody else. These guys will go to like -10, like -5. What else do we need? We need -4, and this guy's like -6. Whoops. Why did I? Okay, so 5 maybe? 4. Do you see what I'm saying? Is that any increase you do in here is going to be automatically withdrawn from here. This is why you get this effect of, you know, your skill is rising, you are playing better, you're watching your reviews, you're watching how to play the champion, but your teammates just keep getting shittier and shittier and shittier, right? You keep stomping your lane harder and harder, but the outcome is always the same. And that's because of engagement optimized matchmaking. It's just that you have to remember, this is why, let me just pull it up. You have to remember, they're not trying to balance the teams. They're not trying to do that, right? What they're doing is they're trying to control your win rate. You have to remember that this is completely different scenario. They're not trying to, just remember this, League of Legends matchmaking is not designed to create balanced games. It's designed to create engagement, okay? Addiction. It's designed to create addiction. Now you say, oh, engagement matchmaking does not exist. When was the last time you did not play League of Legends? Oh, I play every day. Yeah, because it's addictive, right? What makes it addictive? Okay, if you play versus bots, is that a fun game? No, it's not a fun game at all, right? Because so the game by itself, the game is not super exciting, right? So what makes it exciting? The system, engagement optimum. What makes it addictive? The system, right? Slots machine, or right? Is slots machine by itself, if you play without money, is that a fun game? No. So what makes it fun? The system. In casino, I mean, dude, you're playing like cards, you're playing roulette, right? Think about roulette. What are you doing? You're throwing a ball and you're watching it land on a number. That's it. That's the game. How interesting is that? That's boring as F, right? But the system of gambling makes it interesting, makes it addictive, right? So League of Legends as a system is addictive. That's what people say, oh, you know, I don't want to play normals, I want to play ranked. I don't want to play customs, I want to play ranked. Because ranked is engagement optimized matchmaking. Normals is also engagement optimized matchmaking, right? Now in normals, it's a little bit easier because they cannot counterpick you, right? So you can kind of, you have little bit higher chances of carrying the game, as opposed to, you know, they just blindly counterpick you and your impact on the game is very small, and then you just depend completely on your teammates. And Riot knows that. That's why they. It used to be the case where you could pick the same champion. Why did they remove that ability to pick the same champion? Because they want to control your win rate. Remember, again, I'll tell you this again. The reason why you're losing is not your fault. It's because the system on League of Legends, the matchmaking sole purpose is to control your win rate, right? Why? Because they know the psychology of win to loss ratio to get you hooked on the game. They understand how to manipulate the psychology, right? And like, here's the proof, right? Here's the proof. If they were running 50% win rate, if they didn't manipulate the system, this account and that Mundo account would not exist. It just would not be possible for them to do it. But you see, because they're trying to manipulate the win and loss rate as much as they can, these accounts, some, like the bot account, has higher MMR than some players. And like I mentioned, you see, because any skill increase in here will be immediately balanced in here, because they want to make sure that they control your win rate, because that's the sole purpose. That's the money making mechanism. Why do they not want you to have? Why are they removing champion, like universal champions, like Riven, for example, right? Tryndamere, right? Because these champions, if played well, can beat anything. But that's not good for the money game, right? Because they want you to have multiple champions. They want it to be a card game where they can control where you basically main multiple champions, and you can, because if you main one champion, you can only buy a certain amount of skins, right? But if you main 20 champions and every champion counters another champion, right, you will buy multiple skins. There's unlimited amount of skins you can buy. That's why it's good for business. Like skill-based matchmaking is not good for business because people get to diamond in 40 games and they F off, right? Whereas this, keeping you in like whatever your MMR is, they can hard lock you. Let's say, I don't know, you're like stuck in silver 4, and they see that when you play in silver 4, you play most games per day. They gonna lock you in silver 4. I promise you that, 100%. As a company, they will probably lock you in silver 4. I heard some players say that, like that's why you have players who are like, used to be like, I don't know, plat 1, diamond, and they have accounts that are just hard stuck. That's because the system probably identified and said, okay, this guy plays the most hours if he sits in this bracket, and it's going to lock you in there because it's good for the business. Okay? I know I said it 3 times, but I'm going to say it one more time. The reason why you're losing is not because you're bad. It's because the sole purpose of League of Legends matchmaking is to get you hooked, right? And that's why you're losing. Because if you win every game, you're gonna get bored, right? But if they control your win rate, you're gonna be playing this game forever. Okay? Take care.